We are live. The red light is on, as Mr. Van Auken says. What is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog is back with another breakdown. Today is Wednesday. We are breaking down the Bellator 265, Cheick Kongo versus Sergei Kharitonov, going down live on Friday. Bellator back to their Fridays. They're like, no more Saturdays. We're just going to go back to Friday. I think they're
Next
back.
week will be Thursday. Yeah, they're all over the place.
I think they're back in Unkinsville,
of course.
Bellator, or Connecticut, Bellator City, as we call it. But yeah, we're here to break down it. It's a very interesting card. It's definitely had some mix-ups later. The last couple Bellator cards have started to feel a little more like what we're used to from Bellator from a couple years ago, where there's a few, I don't want to say squash matches, but a little bit mismatches with regards to experience and skill level, where we're going to get some crazy odds on some guys like Marcelo Gome, for example, who's and like just guys who are very good, but we're getting minus 600s on a card like this. So going to be smart with it. But I got a special surprise as always. I try to reach out and get some fighters to come on here. This is actually a fighter who joined us a little while ago on the previous channel, to not be named, because I just don't really need to plug it. But, we were doing a light heavyweight Bellator preview. We've been doing pretty well on it. I think we were pretty accurate, but it also has been going kind of according to plan. The one thing I'm very proud of from that was not exactly the internet. Julius had a little bit of trouble with his internet that day, but worked through it the entire episode, so shout out to him. But we kind of came to a conclusion that Anthony Johnson versus Yoel Romero was not going to happen.
Yeah, we both did.
I think all three of us did. I think I understood from the scramble.
Julius,
either way, that's kind of the one kind of analysis. But without further ado, we got a light heavyweight, I will say contender, just as he just is awaiting these opportunities, and I think they're going to really start coming here on the second half of the year. Mr. Julius Anglickas joins us live. I think I nailed that last name, but let me know.
No.
How do we say it, Julius?
Anglickas.
Anglickas. I just will never get it right.
Lithuanian.
That's right. How you doing, Julius?
Good.
Great to see you. Great to see you. We have heard kind of news that there is a potential fight announcement coming from you. We'll get the specific details as you're allowed to release those. But what can you kind of tell us about what's going on right now with you?
So I guess I'm still alternate. So that should say a lot. So I'm not going to mention the date, but on whenever the next day doing, I should be on it. Contract is signed, so I'm not saying the numbers or the dates, but saying that alone should kind of give a little bit of information when it's going to happen. Just have my opponent. It's actually a person who was supposed to fight a few times in the past, but it just kept falling through. Bellator had different plans. So again, that should say a little bit something, but I'm not going to confirm it.
That is an incredible clue. I won't say anything either. I'm not trying to get you in trouble, but I think I know after that.
Yeah, so...
wow. How are you feeling about that? How's it feel? It seems like, it's really hard, first of all, to tell. Julius, do you ever get out of shape? Because you always look just like you're a Terminator who's like ready to go in there and fight like tomorrow. Is that just based on kind of the unpredictable nature of how Bellator seems to be offering you fights in the short notice? Is it stay ready? Is it just I want to keep getting better? Like, do you get out of shape and I'm just wrong? Sorry, go ahead.
I think I just have nothing else going on. It's like I don't live with my family. My family's in New York. I'm in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what else can I do? So I just go to the gym. That's where I spend my time. I love working out. Sometimes it's just maybe I work out too much, especially now you're getting older and it's like injuries start catching up to you. So you have to kind of be a little bit more careful, a little bit more smarter about it. So I'm trying to learn that, just like put my ego to the side and realize that I'm like, all right, you're not as young as you used to be. Take a little break.
Yeah,
So
recovery is really important.
Yeah,
right.
are you working on the mental side of things as well as you're progressing in your career? Is that something you never felt the need to, or what aspects of the mental game are you working on in the off season particularly?
Just like, I guess in the off season, completely. I guess I try not to do too much mental.
Okay.
Like I do some visualizing here and there, and just more like developing a skill. But and when it comes to working the mental part, you work on it, but as well, you don't try to burn it out. I try to get the mental part going more during the fight camp when I do have fight coming up. So then I lock in my mind, lock in my body, and we get to work and we get ready for the fight. Right now, to lock in my, like, if I don't have a fight coming, to lock in your mind and like train your mind for something, it's good, but it could burn you out. It's not the time to be locked in, ready to go when you don't have fight coming. So maybe it's that time to like completely relax. Okay, you have nothing going on, just chill out, because when the time comes, you need to spike it back up, and that's when you need to be concentrated. So I have my days on and off where it's like, okay, I go a little bit harder, I go a little bit easier with the training and mental preparation.
Yep.
But if you don't have fight coming up, I usually try to not to think too much about it. But with saying that, like, you still try to work on your skills. You just try not to overthink it, stress it, but you do some visualization. But there is time and place for everything. You don't try to burn yourself out. When I was younger, I used to do that all the time. Burn myself out with this and that, da da da. Now it's like, no.
Oh, like a lot of overthinking, for example. Was
Right.
and so I'm gonna add that to the list of reasons why I'm not gonna start my fight career. I'm just gonna stay as an analyst. I overthink every time one of you fights. It is crazy. Brian Battle, my co-host on the UFC breakdown show, he's getting ready to fight in the Ultimate Fighter finale next week. And I mean, I had a little bit of an idea with the Ultimate Fighter because it was a 5-week show and he walked out of it with less marks on him than he walked into. So I was like, okay, like either you got like choked out and I'm just going to be really pissed off at you, or like you're okay. So, but now it's like we're live again. Like I just watched my friend Jillian Robertson do a submission underground this weekend against Cheick. It's like none of it is. I don't know how you guys do it. I truly admire kind of how you do it, and it really is interesting that you're focusing on, maybe not overdoing it. Not just I've heard the overdoing with the physical training, but I've never heard it from the mental aspect. So
yeah, because it could carry to the wrong direction. Because if you try to keep it, what I noticed, if you try to keep it up top, like doing everything 100%, like with the body and the mind, if you try to keep it at 100, when it's not needed, you kind of don't notice how it starts dropping lower and lower, and you still think you're at the 100 because you've been trying to keep it at the 100, but it's actually lower than it is. So I think just acknowledgement of cutting it completely off and knowing what the zero is, then you can
awesome.
Notice.
That's such good stuff.
Pick it up.
Rose Namajunas is a really good example of that mental toughness, and that's a fellow Lithuanian, Rose Namajunas. So
there we go. Very true.
What did she say about it? I never.
I just know she just has had some mental issues in the past, but she's gotten over it. I know she has a garden that she focuses on. She's with her husband, Pat Barry. They have an amazing relationship. And I think she's conquered those demons. So
she used to go. Yeah, it's a very good point. These fighters used to go and wanting to kill everybody, just feeling like if they lost, they would die. Essentially, was like what Rose used to say. So it's very good. The Lithuanian connection there doesn't put it past me. And I don't know if it's because I know a little bit, Julius, or what it is, but you look less angry than I used to see you. So it's like you're still like just a terrifying looking human being. Like no matter what, like you just are a scary looking dude. Like if I walk past you on the street, I just feel like I'm gonna make sure not to bump into that dude. But like you do, like, just overall, like, I mean, seeing you in there, it's just such a smooth process so far, what I've seen in Bellator. And it's like a lot of, maybe outsiders are like, why didn't he, like, force himself into that tournament? There was a guy who had very little experience and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but it's just like you aren't in a rush to get there. And, like, when these opportunities are present, you're going to take them when they're right. And did you mention you're going to be an alternate still in the tournament? Is that what you mentioned?
Yes. I was not sure with it, how it was going to be, because I did not take the Rumble fight.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what's going to happen. Plus, this whole summer, I wasn't sure what's happening with the whole tournament because they wanted the tournament to be in July, but then we just never heard of it.
Right. I mean, I think this was part of our breakdown preview also, that none of the dates were going to go according to, like, they've kept moving them around. It's going to be like a 2021, 2022 type of tournament. You might just be popping into the final as the alternate. It's like, so remind me, do you have to make 205 for that then? Or is it
for the tournament? Yes.
So that, and your opponent would not necessarily, since they're not an alternate. So that is kind of an interesting little fold there, that your opponent only has to make 206 while you have to make 205.
Actually, now that I wonder, because
and maybe that's just like a not necessary question. I was just curious.
No, because that is actually pretty interesting right now. Because now I'm wondering, like, if we all, because last time, did I tell you what happened on my last fight when I almost?
No, just remind. You can just go ahead and remind us.
Because in the morning I woke up and they were like, "Hey, did you hear the news?" Because I thought I'm gonna have to make 206. And for this fight, I'm also have to make 206. But for the tournament, it's 205, and they were like, "Hey, Julius, one of the guys is having trouble making weight. Corey Anderson's opponent, some Russian guy.
Right.
He's having a hard time making weight. Can you make 205? We'll give you extra money." So that was the only time when they asked me to make 205, when they kind of knew that they need a replacement. They might need a replacement.
And that was the morning of the weigh-ins.
The morning of the weigh-ins. So I woke up to go make weight, and they're like, "Hey, can you make one more extra pound just in case?" So now,
I mean, one extra pound does not sound easy to me.
You got it done.
Got it. It was tough. I was questioning a little bit. I was like,
no kidding.
But now that you asked, it's like, now I wonder what would happen if we do make the weight,
right? And
then something happens later on in the day, which probably wouldn't.
Right. But who knows at this point? There doesn't seem to be. I mean, every time we do a Bellator breakdown, by the time it's Wednesday, we have 3 different opponents. Some opponent from Mississippi is popping up with a 4-1 record just being put against them.
Scheduling bouts.
Yeah, it is the wild west, over here. I mean, we see it in PFL too, and frankly, we see it in the UFC. So I don't want to act like this is just the crazy world of MMA that we're in, and it's just I think these extra little hurdles are only making you better from these fights, though. I mean, your opponent didn't wake up to a text saying, "Hey, lose another 16 ounces after you drained yourself." Surprise. And you might be having a different opponent. That is just that's a level of mental strength and mental fortitude that these other opponents can't replicate. And, I have an idea about your opponent, and I do not believe he's gone through the same type of hurdles as this. And I've also been a little familiar at why these bouts have fallen through, and it's not been on Julius's end. So I always look forward to these matchups when it's canceled on one side repeatedly.
Yeah, I don't think it was his fault either. I think
very classic.
Bellator was trying to create.
I agree.
Different possible scenarios. It wasn't really on him either.
No, I didn't mean to say he was ducking you exactly. So I agree, but I think Bellator has their horse in the race, and it's not always the man who goes in there and puts together 15 complete minutes where he keeps himself safe and his opponent on the defense the whole time. I'll just say that much. The art of the decision is often lost throughout MMA. And to me, when I'm doing research, I get so much out of 15 minutes than out of a 46-second knockout, for example. So it's great. Everybody wants to go in there and get that. That is amazing. And besides Francis Ngannou, the rest of us have to eventually fight a decision. And So like, it's just, I think I've been super impressed. I was impressed with you on the Contenders series. I do think the Contenders series is just obsessed with finishes. They used to be, especially before the pandemic. Now they're just like, if you win, please just come in here, Kevin Kroom, all of you, just, we need you all. But
Right.
I think it's been for the better. I just think that it's been is this your fourth fight coming up in Bellator now?
Yes.
I mean, it's been very smooth. These have been, I mean, I don't know if you've even lost a round so far in Bellator, but it's just been, they have all been unanimous decisions, which again, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. And I do think that you have more than the capability of getting a finish, frankly. The finish prop in your next fight is going to be tempting for me to take, because I think it's been a while since you got in a finish. And I think you're ready to get back in there.
Right, that's what I'm thinking too. I was like, damn, three finishes in a row. Like, I mean, the Contender series, I got it like at the last moment. But like, yeah, my last 3 fights went to distance, and I'm like, geez, like, especially like Jordan Young, I was kind of testing the waters out. I wasn't trying to burn myself out, even though I was like putting pressure on him. Palisi, I hit that man with everything.
That was such a great fight too.
I hit that man with everything. I was like, how is he not going down? Like, I was tired from punching him. I was like, do I even keep punching?
It's not you, it's your opposition. They're too stubborn.
And man, is Palisi good also. Like, very good. You see a lot. He's rebounded from that loss and just had a dominant performance. And I could see there was a few points.
September.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Palisi.
Who's he fighting? Do you know?
Alex, I'll look. I can look that up.
Grant Neal in light heavyweight.
Thank you. Nice.
Yeah.
So,
you know Grant Neal?
I heard the name.
Yeah, Bellator. He's fought a few times in Bellator.
Okay.
Yeah, but either way, that was definitely a performance where it's like you can't really read your face in a fight because you're just unreadable. But like, I just was like, I could tell there was a moment where it was like, I've thrown everything, and to get over that hurdle has to be I mean, you see those moments with fighters where they put everything in it, and it's like you're still here. And I can't imagine being so tired and just having to keep going against someone who's trying to put you away like that.
Yeah.
And then, no one's made Palisi look like that. And the wrestling, particularly, I think, was really the showcase in that fight, because Palisi is one of the best wrestlers besides Julius in the light heavyweight division. So,
well, I guess I'm not too offensive. I guess in my last fight I was a bit too offensive with wrestling. I don't know. I just kind of didn't have my mental game ready. I don't know. Just the whole fight was weird, and I was just like, guess I felt like I took it a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. Just kind of took him down, and that was it. And still kind of mad at myself for not exploring the ground and pound. I was even being a little bit more careful with that. I think I was a little bit more concerned about keeping him down than keeping him down and doing some damage. So,
was it a little bit? I mean, because I rated your other 2 opponents in Bellator a little bit higher than your later. Was it a little bit just knowing you were better than your opponent? Not to sound arrogant here, but like that you were the better fighter, and it's like we saw it with GSP in some of his fights that there were very much kind of mismatches where it's like, I'm not going to put myself in a position here where I'm just better. Right. The position is here, like, we're here to win first and foremost. And like, risking it and losing with all due respect, I won't say your opponent's name last fight. They can look it up. I don't want to just like trash, but it's like he was a good fighter, but I think Jordan Young and Alex Palisi were better fighters, and it's like, and so it's just, and I think the gap was very wide in that fight, and to the point where it's like the criticism could be, yes, you should finish that opponent and dominate them, but you did dominate him. It's just that you didn't do it in like you didn't have a TikTok. Right. There's not a TikTok to make out of your single leg snatch in the fight. Like, I guess you could say I would make it, but no one would view it.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many takedowns you got in that fight? It was quite a few.
Yeah, it was a couple, but I mean, he wasn't much of a wrestler.
No.
So it's
that's what you do to You do count it because it's mixed martial arts. I mean,
right. You
I
counted
counted it.
but I feel I didn't do much after that. So it's
Well,
like
this inside the distance prop is only getting stronger with the bet for my next fight, and I'm sure the odds makers will look and see, oh man, 3 straight decisions. This guy doesn't have any power. This guy doesn't have any killer instinct. I guess he's just one of these guys who looks mean but just doesn't fight mean. Listen to all the comments there. Go ahead. Like it's all just use it put it on that bulletin board, or that's like how I pretend that fighters deal with the fight game, but. Brandon, do you have any more questions? I know that you're getting ready to go in and train, correct?
Today I'll take it easy.
Oh, you're taking it easy.
No, yeah. Plus, I misunderstood the time. I thought.
Yeah, no, I was
in an hour from now. So.
Yeah, I should have been more clear.
No, you were clear. I just misread a thing and the timelines. Plus, I'm not the brightest, so.
Yeah. I respectfully disagree, my friend. But Brandon, any other questions before we got a whole breakdown here as well, but we really do appreciate you joining us, Julius.
Absolutely.
It's great to talk to you with clear internet. Also, it's like
really man,
new phone.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like you are like an
way better.
Yeah. So, Brandon, any questions before we let Julius go?
Yeah, you are still finishing. You finish the majority of your opponents still 7 out of 10, so you're still at a 70% clip, and 3 of those are in round 3. So it's you can go deep into the deep waters and still get your opponents out of there because of your cardio, your technique, your perseverance. Would you rather a quick first round knockout, or would you rather, feel it out and get a read on your opponent and then expose them later?
I feel the second option is better.
Yeah.
Just to get the ring time, like. Yes, knockout will look good. Yes, like finish will maybe get you some social media stuff.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's good for the career, but to like build yourself as a fighter, you want those type of fights like with like Polizzi. Like that was tough.
Yeah, man.
And like that definitely helped me a lot to like build me as a fighter. Did I want to finish him? Yes, that could have looked better. Maybe my stock would have went a little bit higher, but would I have learned something? Depends how early I would have finished them. So I feel I'm happier with good, strong fights. And if I win, great. Well, win is the first thing. But yeah, if it was a good, long, strong fight, then I'm happy with it because it's like, whoa, like I just went to hell and back, and I learned a lot.
And took somebody's soul in there.
Right.
Sometimes.
Piece of my soul left too.
Yeah. That's
an MMA game. I'm just extremely happy that you jumped on with us.
There's Boston Comments giving you some love here. Bunny, one of our big supporters, and if you got Boston Comments on your side, you got someone going to bat for you. So
and Aaron and I don't know if you know this, but we bet on all the MMA fights. And you're a fighter that I am very reliable. That you're just a really reliable fighter. Like when I put my money on you, I know you're just I just know it's safe putting my money on you. Other than somebody who goes out ballistic, like a bat out of hell. You're a lot more calculated, and I don't think you've ever lost as a as a betting option. You've never lost yet. You've only got green in your record, so keep it up, my friend.
Have you bet on me?
Yeah, I bet.
I bet on you in your last 3 fights.
Okay.
The minus 1,000, I couldn't do that. That was minus 1,000 means you have to bet $1,000 to make $100.
Oh,
so you were a 10-1 favorite in your last fight.
10-1.
Wow.
Which is for in one way great, and but also it's like if you don't go in there and get a finish, you get criticized, or you criticize yourself, like has happened here. And seriously, Julius, we knew you were great when you worked through all those internet issues on the tournament preview show. Like I could not believe you just would not give up. You don't give up inside of the cage either. It's very reflective of you, and you just have a very calm demeanor to you. The way you speak is very calculated. The way you work is very calculated. And I just have nothing but respect for how you do it. I really appreciate, especially the little part about leaving your soul in there, because I'm all about the heart. This sport is all about the heart to me, first and foremost, and skill and technique are, I believe, secondary, which is probably easy for me to say as someone on the sideline. But it's like you're truly a great fighter, and I'm really looking forward to following you in there. Anybody you want to, give a shout out to before we let you take off today? If not, that's all good too. You don't have to have anything. I always like to ask.
Thank you guys for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. The eloquent, I just feel like such a lud when I'm on screen with Julius here. He's just so I just am.
He makes us look better.
Just blabbering on. But seriously, Julius, you always got an open invite here. You don't got to have a fight or anything to come on. If you ever want to give the breakdown game a shot, I know that Brian Battle has said it's helped his game quite a bit since he started breaking down fights. I'm not saying I'm the reason he is going to win the Ultimate Fighter, but I'm definitely a part of it for sure. And I'm sure he'd say that too. So, I would love to add you to a group of people, but you're always part of the dog crew here. We're just a brand new channel here. We've been around for just over a month. Brandon's been a huge supporter. Brandon with MMA Wagers, great MMA betting analyst as well, doing his thing. And we're just trying to do it the right way. I've been really proud of the type of individuals we've gotten on as guests so far, and you just are right at the top there. You're truly an elite fighter and a better person. So thanks for putting up with me calling you Anglicus, and obviously I had to give you a little hard time. You know it, but seriously, all the best with your preparation. I'm very excited for this matchup. I think I know who it is, and if I'm wrong, then I'm missing someone else who's had some.
You'll find out soon.
I can't wait though. I can't wait. So, but seriously, all the best. Enjoy your day off and the preparation for your next fight. Brandon, anything before we let him go?
Just have a great day, Julius, and can't wait to see you back on. Maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about your upcoming fight.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Have a great day. See you later. Nice new phone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, see ya. All right, Julius Anglicus, man. What a guy. Seriously cool dude. Thanks for everybody who put up with that. It was right at the beginning of the breakdown, at least. So if
we haven't even started a fight yet.
If you're just joining us, we're hopping into the first fight here. I will work on trying to get the timestamps up very quickly. I know those are very popular, so we'll hop into this 11 fight card here. Like I said, a little bit more of an old school Bellator card here, in my opinion. We've got some even the beginning with these random 0-0, 1-2 type of fighters and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is though. But hopping into our first fight here, we've got the 185 division, Jeff Nielsen versus Corey Mogenberg. We've got 0-0 versus a 1-2 guy. So we'll do our best here, but
not much to say on this one.
Not much to say. Also, this fight is taking place actually in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Not Uncasville. Not Bellator City, Connecticut. So I don't know. I believe they have open scoring there, but I wish I would have looked that up. Maybe you can see if you can find anything on that. But otherwise, it won't change the breakdown too much here, especially not for this one. We've got a 0-0 versus a 1-2. Corey Mogenberg, the monster. Needless to say, neither one of us is going to be betting on this fight, I don't think. I don't imagine at least. But Corey Mogenberger, the monster, 29 years old, out of Iowa. Foundation style of BJJ, fighting out of Grace Palace, not too familiar with that. Lost to Logan Woods. He did lose to Brendan Allen in his MMA debut back in 2016. He got knocked out by him in round 1.
Outing for your MMA debut.
I mean, seriously, yeah. And Brendan Allen in 2016 must have been about 19 years old. So, but still, and then he won a majority decision. He also got knocked out back in 2019. He's been off since then. He was supposed to fight Impa Kasagane, which also would have been tough, but he withdrew. and now he's coming back after a couple of years. He, as an amateur, went 3-1. I'm not too familiar with any of the opponents there, though. Jeff Nielsen, a big fat 0-0. He did fight as an amateur in Bellator, as you can see, which I didn't know Bellator did amateur fights, but they must have used to. Fighting out of Next Edge Academy of Martial Arts. He's got a very good amateur record, 6-1. So that's very solid. 3 finishes in there. The decisions are 1 majority, 1 split, and 1 unanimous. He got guillotine choked for his 1 loss from a 4-1 fighter. I would assume the fighter making his debut has the advantage here, just based on having all these fights be within the last 4 years. He's fought twice, or once in 2021, twice in 2020. So he's fought during the pandemic, during these smaller crowds. Seems like he's ready to go pro at 6-1 as an amateur. And his opponent just wasn't able to find much tape on him. Doesn't look great, but I wouldn't bet this one. This is just, I'm going to leave this one.
Yeah, this is probably the toughest fight to get a good read on the card. Back in the day, this would be like a post limb. It'd be like one of those dark bouts.
Oh yeah, post limbs.
Yeah, they used to do those all the time in Bellator.
I remember the post limbs.
But now we actually get full odds on every single card. So the MMA betting game has really been rising ever since the pandemic. Man, we've been getting odds every week on every promotion. So
yeah. Did you see the odds for this fight?
I'm just gonna say. Jeff is probably the favorite because they're building him up. He also, like you said, fought as an amateur in Bellator. And
he's out of South Dakota. Also, he's a minus 400 favorite right now for his debut.
But still, that is pretty heavy. But I don't know. I don't know the other guys only lost to good opposition too. So Corey has lost to Logan Woods. We know him. We know Brendan Allen. But those were 2 knockouts. And like you said, he hasn't been fighting as recently, and 2.5 years away from the sport. He's only 29. He's still young. So we could see a completely different fighter here. So minus 400 is pretty heavy. Yeah,
it's 5'10" versus 5'10". So these are 2 pretty smaller middleweights. So it's just I'm not betting a minus 400 in his debut, even if he is from South Dakota. That's great. But I'm gonna just straight up pass, pretend that the fights start on the next one here. So we will move on to the next fight here. It is at the 265 limit. That is the heavyweight division. Between a 1-0 Bailey Schoenfelder and a 1-1 Kevin Childs. We won't spend a lot of time on these first couple fights. There's no real reason to. This one, I feel a little bit more confident in my pick, but it's also 2 heavyweights, so who knows? Chocolate Thunder, Kevin Childs, I will be breaking down first. Looks like a fun guy. Has a good time. 26 years old. So, 6 foot tall. Looks like he pushes the limit. If I had to guess, 1-1 boxing style, fighting out of Iowa, Grace Palace as well. So same as
that's Corey.
Same as Corey. So Corey also looks like a fun guy. He's coming off a draw in boxing in June of this year. Before that, fought to a decision with a Tyree Millsap, an 0-2 fighter for True Revelation, 42. I've never heard of that organization. I had heard of Cage Aggression, which he had his MMA debut in, and he got knocked out by a 1-4 opponent in 2.5 minutes. That was in September of 2020. And then he lost a split in boxing, so he spent time between the two. Not exactly what you like to see. Bailey Schoenfelder, I believe, was a former wrestler, also fighting out of South Dakota. I think that we've got the first 2 fights, it's going to be the South Dakotan products making their force known. Schoenfeld, 22nd knockout in his debut. It was on the prelims of an LFA card, so I do remember watching it live, but was not able to find any tape of it. It's pretty hard to find the prelims for LFA after they happened, but it was a 0-0 guy. He went in there and did what he needed to do. Had no amateur experience, but again, I believe he had amateur wrestling experience. I think this is Bailey Schoenfelder all day, knockout.
Yeah, this is another one we don't have to spend much time on. Kevin Childs has been knocked out 3 times as an amateur, once as a professional. He's won by a decision, so at least he can go all 3 rounds. But he's going to get touched, I think, here. Bailey looks like the real deal. I know we don't know much about him, but prospects explode on the scene all the time. Like we saw Davian Franklin last week. That guy's going somewhere. Like, he reminds me of like AJ McKee kind of.
No, you mean the guy you picked against last week?
Yeah, well, I saw 15-0. I should have maybe looked up.
You picked Everett Cunningham.
Everett Cummings. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. We don't need
you that picture. Can I change my pick? Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I'm
just saying, my Tefon Nchukwu pick has been alleviated.
Yeah, yeah, that was tough to watch, but
we both got Bailey
could be
here.
Like the next Davian Franklin. So yeah, knockout first round. I'll go Bailey.
I agree. Bailey minus 750. He did open as a minus 400. That got steamed.
750.
I mean, it makes sense. He's facing a guy who got knocked out by a 1-4 opponent last year.
Yeah, I guess
in 2.5 minutes. Like it adds up here. I think Bailey may choose to use a little bit of ground and pound in this fight. He is a wrestler, but minus 750. I'll add it because I think
Bellator scooped this guy up quick, so they must see something in him because he had that one LFA fight. It's like Bellator is all over him, or he just has a good management.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I do think he's pretty legit. I liked what I saw in the LFA out of him for sure. And so, yeah, this is going to move us on to the next fight here. We got Dwayne, not The Rock Johnson, taking on Devon Fisher. This is at 185. Devon Fisher is 4-8, fighting out of, wait for it, Winner, South Dakota. That's kind of ironic. And he's taking on a 5-2. Dwayne's nickname is The Rock, by the way.
I was joking around.
He did it. He certainly did it. The 33-year-old certainly took the bait and out of Nebraska. 5-2. So we got 5-2 versus 4-8. Woof. I mean, this is really rough here. 31 years old for the 4-8 Devon Fisher. Is on a one, lost his last fight out, fighting out of Winner, South Dakota, 6 foot tall. Weighed in for his last fight at 190 against Darren Wynn back in April of 2017. He was knocked out in 1:40 by Darren Wynn in LFA at Sioux Falls. That's a little troubling for me for sure. Darren Wynn
knocking you out.
Yeah, in 1:40 as well. So that's definitely a little bit troubling for me. It was a catch weight fight of 190, so he didn't miss weight. Before that, he did guillotine choke on one guy, but before that, lost to Austin Hubbard. I believe that was at welterweight, and that was Austin Hubbard's debut. And Austin Hubbard guillotined him inside of 2 minutes. So, I mean, he's faced some decent competition, but that competition has put him away each time. A lot of red here, a lot of finishes in there, submissions, a couple rear naked chokes, a KO, a couple KOs here. He loses in a lot of ways and gets finished a lot of times. Dwayne Johnson out of Nebraska, The Rock, unbelievable. He doesn't even spell his name the same way. Like, come on. I'm fighting on disorderly conduct. I have heard of that gym before. I'm not exact. I can't recall who I've seen out there, but I am familiar with the gym. He had a split loss to Austin Jones. That's what stood out for me back on Raytheon Stott's LFA card against Ryan Lilly. But that's a very good split loss to have, in my opinion. He did have a KO win back in June of this year, albeit against a 3-7 opponent. You just look back, and I just think Dwayne Johnson should win this fight, but he's never been finished. Tough guy. One of his losses is a split to Austin Jones, who's not a bad fighter at all. has had a good amateur record where he only lost to Kalen Bourne, who was supposed to fight in the UFC, and Jesus Sandoval, who I'm not familiar with. But other than that, went on a pretty good win streak here. He's facing a 4-8 guy. I'll take Dwayne Johnson. I'm not going to bet it at all.
Yeah, I expect Dwayne Johnson to be the favorite. That'd be kind of cool if he had a gimmick, because his nickname's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so he might have a The Rock gimmick, like, the smelling thing that The Rock does. No?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Smell somebody. What does he do, The Rock? Something cooking, yeah.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking,
Yeah.
know your role, and shut your mouth.
And yeah, we gotta say this right now. Devon Fisher's been knocked out 6 times. He's been submitted 9 times. So he knows how to give up in fights. At least, like you said, he has been facing formidable opponents, but he just doesn't have that warrior mentality, I don't think. And when things get tough in there, he finds a way out. And yeah, I think Dwayne Johnson should have a successful Bellator debut here.
Yeah, the issue here is the odds. Dwayne Johnson, a 5-2 fighter out of Nebraska, who hasn't beat anybody of note, but I get his opponent is not of note. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is a minus. I just want to make sure I got this right. Minus 550 favorite.
Okay. I thought you were going to say minus 5,000 for a second. I was like, wait, what?
Minus 550 plus 380 on the 4-8 Devon Fisher. I mean, I guess I understand.
Yeah, if we get prop bets, we could take
inside the distance.
Inside the distance for sure. That will make it minus 150 maybe on the
minus. I doubt this will have props on it. I just don't. I don't see myself. Yeah, I don't see myself going too heavy on that one.
But that seems like a parlay piece for me. But obviously, waiting till the weigh-ins tomorrow, and we got the PFO weigh-ins today, actually at 5 o'clock, I believe.
Yep, right after we're done here. So next fight here is at 170. I'm very excited to see one of these guys, particularly Archie Colgan, taking on Ben Simmons here at 170. I'm going to be breaking down Mr. Ben Simons first. I apologize. This is at 170. Ben Simons out of Minnesota. 6'1", 75.5-inch reach out of Academy of Combat Arts, 3-2. Yeah, I'll give you a hint. He's not the one I'm excited to see here. But I will break him down here, 3-2. I don't have an age here. He did win his last fight out against Kia's Nielsen, making his debut for MPX Promotions, and that was in November of 2018. Before that, had a loss to Ramzi Rahamaj. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got guillotine
fighting this weekend, actually.
And Tyler Ray also guillotined him. So it looks like a little bit of a guillotine issue with his 2 LFA opponents, who both are very high-level LFA opponents, frankly. Tyler Ray, he was fighting at his debut, but been off since 2018. Has a win by rear naked choke and a win by arm triangle. Archie Colgan is also going by the name King here. I believe he's in his mid-20s, 5'8", out of Denver, Colorado, fights out of Team Elevation. Very good camp, obviously, there. Had an arm triangle in his last fight with LFA. Also was on the prelims of that Fremd Rodriguez card and fought on the prelims against an Andrew Claiborne for LFA and finished that with elbows in the third round. Both those coming in 2021, one in March, one in May. He's looking very complete, has good strikes, good wrestling, appears to have a good gas tank as well. Was undefeated as an amateur at 3-0, all finishes there. Good strikes. I think he gets another finish here. Ben Simons, one of my most confident picks on the card.
Oh, okay. One of your most confident. Simons is coming in short notice. Archie was supposed to face CJ Randall, who also is an unknown.
Yeah, they were looking to show off Archie here.
Yeah, this is definitely a showcase fight for Archie.
Yes.
Ben Simmons has been submitted.
It's Ben
Yeah,
Simons.
the guillotines, that's his kryptonite. And
It's Ben
Archie,
Simons. Sorry.
Ben Simons, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, Archie, I would just say inside the distance, probably. Ben does have the experience edge. A few more fights, a few more years in the game. But yeah, Archie coming out of Team Elevation, Genesis Training Academy. I
Yeah.
believe Austin Hubbard trains there too, and he has a fight on Saturday. So
Yeah.
they're probably getting rounds in together.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take Archie in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the odds I was expecting him, I'm just glad it's not 4 digits. It's still at 3 digits at minus 750. He's in all my parlays. Honestly, it was already in the parlays I built. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if this one goes down, I rebuild all of them because it's early in the card. This will be my first real investment bet on the card that I'm making. But, I mean, I feel better about it than a Dwayne Johnson at minus 550 even. Or, like, it's just –
Yeah, this is a prospect for sure, Archie. And is Minnesota by South Dakota or no?
Yeah, Minnesota's pretty close. It's, pretty. I think it's.
He's from Ben's from Minnesota, and Archie's from Denver, Colorado. So,
I mean, there's Archie has really good cardio, good power as well. So
not much travel for Archie from Colorado.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. I think that there's a reason that Bellator picked him up after 2-0. He did. I was very impressed with his performances. Next fight here, I'm very excited about this. I'm always excited to break down Mike Hamill fights. I am a huge Mike Hamill fan. Even though he's not always the most successful, obviously, we see the record here. This is a 155 fight, by the way. Mike Hamill is 7-5 out of MMA Lab, taking on Bryce Logan, another guy I'm a huge fan of. 12-5, really gritty guy here. In the veteran here in Logan, former LFA guy as well, fighting out of Fight Ready MMA. I'm sorry, he did lose his last fight out. That was against Georgi Karakian, and it was a split decision. It was a really close fight. I did go back and watch that fight. I do think Georgie did win, but Bryce Logan was by no means outshining them. We've seen how Georgie's been looking lately. Georgie's kind of reinvented himself in a way, which has been great to see after a little bit of a struggle. But before that, over with LFA is where I really got to know Bryce Logan. Had a very impressive win over Jacob Rosales, not Jacob Silva, and a win over Jonas Flock, who obviously we know is fighting tomorrow for PFL against Christian Lozen. He was on yesterday on the show if you want to check out that interview. If not, that's all good too. But he did make weight successfully today, Jonas, and continues to shift as a favorite. And then we see that split win over Kenneth Glenn. And I'm telling you, if you can just win a decision against Kenneth Glenn, you have some serious cage IQ, because that guy just makes it tough on everybody, and when it goes 15 minutes. It's really hard to hit him. He's very defensive, very smart, and you can see Kenneth Glenn has a lot of split decisions on his record. So I am impressed by all three of those fights. And then the split against Georgie here. I think that Bryce Logan, is just a very gritty opponent. He's tough to put away. He has been put away, I believe, only one time, twice, actually. By Grant Dawson and T. Edwards by knockouts. And then he was put away once by submission from Nate Andrews. Those are all very high-level opponents. Nate Andrews, 14-1 at the time. Very high caliber. Seems to have, and then Georgie, another split decision, has a win in LFA over Dakota Bush, which is huge. I really do like the level of competition here. And Mike Hamill is just another. This fight is going to be so gritty. It's going to be very close. Both guys are going to be grinding against each other. I do not see a finish in this one. But Mike Hamill, he just goes in there. He really just he puts the wrestling first and foremost, really tries to make it cage control. And his last two fights have been against Adam Borick and Usam Nurmagomedov. So a little bit of a tough go about it. The Bruno Souza loss was not a loss. He was dominating that fight. He had nearly a 10-7 round and a 10-8. Seriously, it's one of the first times I've legit scored a fight at 10-7 round. Should have been stopped several times. And then Souza turned his head to Mike Hamels and then eventually got a back of the head shot that he took out of the fight. But Hamels looked really good there. When he's on top and able to impose his will, he's very difficult to deal with. I think this is going to be a close fight. Could be another bunny split decision here for sure. But I just have to give it to Bryce Logan. I think Bryce Logan's a little bit better version of Mike Hamels in many ways. And if Mike Hamels can't get on top, I think he's going to have some trouble winning this fight. I think it goes all 3 rounds, though, but I'll take Bryce Logan.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a closely contested fight between 2 pretty high-level mixed martial artists. Mike Hamel does have those back-to-back losses to Adam Borick and Usman Nurmagomedov. No shame in that. I think he's reinvented himself as a lightweight these days. Yeah. He used to fight at featherweight. So, yeah, he's not having to cut as much weight. He has given up size, obviously. Bryce Logan is a pretty big lightweight. They both have faced pretty good opposition. We'll see if we can get prop bets on this fight. This is when the fights start to get better from here on out. Yeah. Those first 4 fights were pretty low level. Bryce Logan losing to T. Edwards. I believe he fought in the UFC as well, Tay Edwards.
Yeah, had a terrible go in the UFC, won on the Contender Series. And
the Contender Series. Powerful wrestler and packs a punch, obviously. So I can't be confident on either side here, but if I had to choose Bryce Logan, I'd pick Bryce Logan in this. I haven't seen the odds yet. What are the odds looking like?
Sorry. Yeah, you were asking. I wasn't sure if you were. So you.
I'm just gonna pick Bryce Logan. They both have faced good competition, but Bryce is gonna be hungry to get back into the win column and get that first Bellator win.
Yeah, I will bet that. I will bet it, but it will be pretty sparingly. Bryce Logan's a -200 favorite here. I think some people will see that and think that's a really great price for Bryce here. But at least I would believe they would, just based on kind of. But facing the 2 level of opponents that Mike Hamels faced and being as competitive as he was in those fights might make him a better fighter coming into this fight. But again, Bryce Logan hasn't taken an easy fight either. They just match up so similarly to each other. They're so well matched up, and Mike Hamels is very used particularly at 155 to being the smaller guy. He has the bigger gas tank, I think, of these 2 guys, and that could be the possible difference later in the round. So we'll see.
Neither of them have high finishing rates. Mike Hamel 3 out of 7 finishes. Bryce Logan 4 out of 12. So we should really be eyeing the over as a parlay.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be pretty juiced, but either way, I do think that is the route I would go with. It. It's a very good fight. Really, the first legit fight on the card here, even though it's a 7-5 versus a 12-5. You can't always judge that. You got to look at who these guys are fighting at such early stages of their careers, and also how they're fighting these guys. So that's kind of my spiel on that. We are moving on to the middleweight division here. This one I feel pretty good in, honestly. I feel I see the route kind of to victory here for this particular fighter. Fabio Aguirre taking on Taylor Tombstone Johnson, 17-2 versus 7-2. 30 years old versus 33 and a half years old for Fabio. We'll be breaking down Taylor Johnson first. The 5'11 wrestler, 30 years old, 74-inch reach, fighting out Chula Vista, California. American Top Team Portland representative, formerly Team Quest, essentially. Won his last fight out back in June of this year against Lance Wright. Lance Wright did take the fight after it being moved a couple weeks. I'm not sure why it was moved. But yeah, Taylor Johnson is a very aggressive grappler, especially in that first round. And when he can lock up that choke, he puts it away. Locked up that rear naked choke on Lance Wright, Lance Wright was making his Bellator debut there, and put him away. Before that, got pretty out-wrestled or out-grappled and out-MMA'd by Johnny Eblin. And before that, got a huge win over Ed Ruth. It was a heel hook inside of a minute, though. So, and before that, the Contender Series fight, he got submitted inside of 2 minutes by Andre Muniz. So very good run of opponents there, 2-2 in his last 4, but definitely has a very consistent wrestling style, very aggressive, goes in there, looks for the finish very quickly. Reminds me of like a Max Roshkov type of grappler, just these grapplers who really go in there and try to get that finish in the first round. But when that doesn't happen, things definitely get a little bit squirrely for Taylor. We look at his career, and I mean, it's all round 1 finishes other than his debut, which is round 2 finish. Got finished inside of a round, and then the Johnny Eblen fight, he just kind of kept spamming the same kind of wrestling approach, and it was not working against a very good wrestler. But he's going against Fabio Aguera here. Fabio Aguera showed no sort of wrestling in his first fight back after a pretty long layoff, and that was against Khalid Murtaliyev, who got whatever he wanted really in that fight. That was his first fight in nearly 3 years.
And he missed weight, I believe.
Yeah, and he missed weight. He looked slow. He looked tired. And it just looked like Khalid, anytime he shot for those doubles, was able to get his hands around those long, thin legs and take him down. Taylor Johnson's going to get him down, probably get a first-round submission, I would assume. Or Taylor Johnson will show he can go 3 rounds and just wrestle him for 3 rounds. I just don't see Fabio's route to victory other than us, obviously getting a strike, because he will have, I believe, a reach advantage here. He's faced some decent Brazilian competition. He actually has a reach disadvantage in this fight. He's 2-inch reach disadvantage. So, interestingly enough, I think this is Taylor Johnson, though. Taylor just needs to not mess with the stand-up here. He needs to just go to his wrestling, which he has not shown as an issue for him. So, yeah, absolutely appreciate it, Bunny, and popping in with back-to-back meetings because she's a boss. Appreciate your support always. We know you'll catch up later, and I'll pass on the words you had for Julius to him as well. But what are your thoughts on this fight?
Well, Fabio this will be his 20th MMA fight, so it must be somewhat of a padded record, 17-2. He is Brazilian, so yeah, a lot of low-level Brazilian circuit fights. The biggest promotion he's fought in is obviously Bellator, where he lost his debut and missed weight. He lost every single round. Taylor has fought on the bigger stage 4 times in the LFA. This will be his 4th Bellator fight. He did lose on the Contender Series to legitimate black belt Andre Muniz, who we saw submit Jacare Souza. So no shame in that at all. And who else has he lost? Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure Taylor Johnson was a gigantic favorite in that fight, too, against Muniz.
Minus 250.
Yeah,
Not gigantic, but yeah, 2.5.
Pretty big. I mean, it's what he is for this fight, ironically, against this Brazilian. So I think that's a great deal on Taylor Johnson. Yeah,
he's only going to learn from these hiccups, and I think that 17-2 record is just really throwing me off. Like, I don't know, it's a good record, man, but yeah, if you dig into their, like last week with Everett Cummings,
you can watch a lot of that tape, and some of these guys don't look like they've ever fought before.
Yeah, those Brazilian circuits, you're not going to get the best competition sometimes. Yeah, it's definitely padded. So yeah, Taylor Johnson all day for me. Yep. I already got him in a parlay.
Yeah, minus 250 feels like a little bit of a trap here for me. Even though he is going against a 17-2 opponent, I really was not impressed with most of the level of those opponents that I saw in Fabio, but it's the feature prelim.
And Taylor's been more active, I believe.
Yeah, it's the last fight on YouTube, and then we move over to Showtime here for Kevin Lee's brother, Keith Lee, taking on Jornel Lugo. And you know how I feel about these. I'm not a fan. It's a catchweight fight. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what this means. I don't like it. It just confuses me. I don't know how to handle it moving forward. Like, I need these guys to weigh in at 135, but instead they're going to have a little extra firepower is a good way of looking at it here. But Jornel Lugo
had a catchweight bout his last fight as well.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like we don't have a catchweight title. But Jornel Lugo, 25 years old in 8 months, fighting out of West Palm Beach, Florida, taking on the Las Vegas, Nevada product, I believe they're fighting out of Extreme Couture. Both the brothers are at this point. Keith Killa Lee, 7-4, 24 years old in 10 months. I remember I watched Keith Lee's MMA debut. That was against TJ Laramie back at TKO Promotions. They're very good fight. I believe that fight was at flyweight, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was back in 2017, January of 2017. I remember that without looking up any of that, by the way. I remember watching that fight vividly. And I was like, this TJ Laramie guy's going to be good. I can't wait for him to get to the UFC. And I'm like, oh, he's got Derek Minner. Here we go, baby. And then he got guillotined in a minute. That was one of my bigger losses of the last.
Yeah, Minner's a guillotine specialist, that guy.
Yeah. Well, I got it back. I got it back with the upset with Darren Elkins. But
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Keith Lee definitely lowered the level of competition after that, facing an 0-1 slicer and 2-3 opponent. Then knocked out a 6-3 opponent before moving up to a couple of tougher opponents. Had 2 splits to John Sweeney, a 4-1 opponent, and Jeremy Pasiktuwi. I don't know how to say that. That is a crazy name. 6-3. Both split losses, and then fought with Final Fight and Global Legion. Got a couple wins over there. Submission win before Bellator picked him up. Sean Bunch was his first win. A veteran wrestler there. Got a decision win over him, and that was at bantamweight. After that, took on Vinicius Zani at a catchweight. Got a decision, and then he was against Rafian Stotts in his last fight. He's only a plus 185 underdog against Rafian Stotts. Insane. I hammered Rafian that night. Did rightly so.
I could have bet more.
Rafian cruised to a decision there. He was supposed to fight Henry Corrales in May. Lee did withdraw. I believe it was supposed to be at bantamweight. I'm not sure why Keith withdrew. Doesn't say. Now Janelle Lugo. So Janelle Lugo, the undefeated prospect here, 6-0. A1 is his nickname, and this dude is pretty close to A1, honestly. He's very, very, very solid fighter. 5-0, fighting on Combat Club. Defeated Casbell in April of this year. Looked very good in that fight. Shiler Suto, an undefeated opponent in his Bellator debut. Looked good there. A couple decisions. Hasn't gotten a finish since his second fight in 2019, where he got a KO finish. And also got guillotine choke in his debut here. Has faced decent guys. John Duma in Bellator before taking. He actually is his third fight in Bellator now. All three he's had decisions, but John Duma's solid. Casbell's solid. I think they're both tougher and more gritty and opponents than Keith Lee. I just think that Janelle Lugo should take this one pretty handily over Keith Lee. I'll go with decision.
Yeah, Janelle Lugo has been killing it, man. Getting 26 scorecards in his past few fights. He's not just winning, he's dominating. And there really doesn't look like there's any holes in his game right now. No fighter has exposed any holes. And it's hard to see Keith Lee pull this one off. I think he's just going to be a little behind everywhere, whether it's standing on the ground. Janelle Lugo looks like the real deal, undefeated. He did lose once as an amateur. It was a unanimous decision, but maybe that was the best thing for him, and he's just been on a roll since. They both have faced somewhat similar competition. Maybe Keith Lee has faced the better competition, but it's not like by a landslide. And Keith Lee did cash as a plus 340 underdog in his Bellator debut. So you can never really count him out. Maybe Sean Bunch took him lightly. I don't know. I can't believe he was plus 340 in that fight. But yeah, Keith Lee got it done. And losing to Stotts. Stotts might be the next bantamweight champion. So yeah, Lugo, man, like I said, he should just be a step ahead here.
Yeah, I'm shocked by the odds. Minus 160 on Janelle Lugo.
I was hoping for underdog odds.
Oh no. That was not happening. I was expecting a 2 in front of Janelle Lugo's name. I like him. I think it's a parlay piece and a good start to the main card there. In my opinion, Huge opportunity, though, for Keith Lee. If he can get that win, that would be pretty gigantic for him. And hopefully then he'd eventually move down to bantamweight and fight in the division as opposed to the catchweight division, just for my own sanity.
Lugo just seems like the more professional out of the two.
Yeah, I agree. But can't put it
I'll
back.
take those odds, minus 160.
Yeah, I'll definitely take those odds. Next fight here is a fight in the heavyweight division. Marcelo Gome getting a last minute replacement of Billy Swanson here. I was able to go back and see some of Billy Swanson's tape, known as Big Sexy for obvious reasons, out of Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, 27 years old, weighed in at 263 for his last fight, 6'2", out of Killer Bees Cleveland. Billy Swanson, 4-1, as I said here. Big Sexy, there he is, very aptly named. Coached out of, as said to have a wrestling style, coached by Israel Gomez. Here he is coming off a win of a 2-6 opponent in Cameron Graham. Was able to watch that fight with AFC 7. It was for a title. Cameron Graham did connect on a few shots on Billy. Billy had to shoot, got the top control, good ground and pound, and submitted him with like an elbow to the throat. It wasn't exactly a technical submission and not a high-level opponent at 2-6. Before that, 0-1. Before that, 2-5, and got knocked out in 50 seconds by Harry Hunsucker in 2019. We've kind of seen how high-level he is. I'm going to keep this very short. Marcelo Gome should win this fight 8-3. He's a much better, much more polished opponent. Face very high-level skill. 6'3", 75-inch reach out of ATT, better camp, 2-fight win streak. Took some time in XMMA and Torah as well after losing 3 straight in the UFC, but those were to Tim Johnson, Arjan Bueller, and Sergei Pavlovich. Not exactly terrible losses. Doesn't have a super marquee win, to be honest. Like his last fight out was against another 4-1 opponent, Brandon Hebert. They kind of traded a little on the feet, and then Gome got the takedown, got the clinch and trip takedown, got on top, used his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I see kind of a similar type of thing here, ground and pound finish for Gome, I'll say.
Yeah, you mentioned Swanson is also coming in short notice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of short notice opponents on this tour, so just be aware when you're making your bets. Marcelo Gome was supposed to fight Kelvin Tiller, and I was going to bet Kelvin at underdog odds, so that kind of sucks that fight got scratched. But, we still got a good heavyweight scrap here. Maybe not a good heavyweight scrap, but it's a heavyweight. It's a fight. It's a fight.
We don't have odds even available yet, but I think Gome will be in the minus 700 range.
Yeah, probably something like that. 100% finishing rate. American top team. He's going to be the more conditioned.
Lost to 2 champions in 2 different organizations, and Tim Johnson and Arjan Bueller, who's now the ONE FC champion.
Yeah.
Like
Sergei Pavlovich is no easy out either. A Russian powerhouse. Those losses are only going to make him better as a fighter, and that experience is going to show here. I think he's going to make a pretty successful Bellator debut, in my opinion. Maybe if we get prop odds, Marcelo Gome in round 2, maybe.
Yeah, I really think Marcelo Gome's going to be a really nice addition to the Bellator heavyweight division. I think he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, he's so young still as well.
Yeah, and Bellator's shown they like to hold on to these guys. I mean, look at Cheick Kongo, who now has been in Bellator since 2012 or something like that. So it's just like
18 Bellator fights, I think.
I think Gome will be in Bellator for quite a while unless he really wants to get back to UFC, but I think that's less and less relevant. So next fight here between Logan Storley and Dante Shiro. This is a welterweight wrestling affair here for sure. It should be a very interesting matchup, though. Dante Shiro, I believe, making his Bellator debut here, coming off a win of Kenny Robertson for the welterweight title over in what's the organization? Cage Aggression. These last 2 fights have been with Cage Aggression. Defeated a 40-24 Victor Moreno by guillotine in Cage Aggression for his debut with the organization in October of last year. And then March of this year beat Kenny Robertson, former UFC opponent, was coming back after about a 5-year layoff. Looked very good in that fight. Kenny Robertson actually was winning that fight against Dante Shiro for a good amount of it. Shiro did get on top, though. Really vicious ground and pound and put him away. Got the back of Kenny Robertson and just kept landing until the ref stopped it. So it was a very good comeback win. And Kenny Robertson looked in very good shape for the fight, looked very prepared, looked very sharp. And we've seen Kenny Robertson put on some pretty good performances over in the UFC. So not a bad win at all, but it was after a 5-year layoff. So Dante is, but Dante is, for the most part, a finisher. Punch finishes, arm triangles, guillotines. So has a variety of finishes. Lists himself as a wrestling-centric fighter, has a split decision loss, as well as a unanimous decision loss. Has not been finished in his career. Logan Storley, we kind of know we're getting out of this guy, 11-1. Did lose his last fight out by split to Yaroslav Amosov. That was a very good fight. Such a list. Very closely contested, closely grappled fight. I don't think there's a lot of fighters who can do to Logan Storley what Yaroslav did. Yaroslav showed how good he is in his title win and is going to keep showing how good he is as the Bellator Khabib, I think. And Logan was close to winning that fight. So it's just, it is one of those losses that I think will make him better. I don't anticipate Dante Shiro will be able to stop the wrestling, and on the feet, I think it's pretty close, which kind of says something about Dante's stand-up for me, because Logan doesn't have the best stand-up, but I think Logan should be able to control the wrestling here. And I'll take Logan to get a submission win.
Yeah, Logan is a high-rising prospect, 6-1 in Bellator now. This will be his 8th Bellator fight in 4 years in the promotion. So definitely a familiar name. Only losing that split decision to the current Bellator welterweight champion. That's his only loss. He's got multiple medals in collegiate wrestling representing Minnesota. He can go all 3 rounds with good conditioning. He's a strong grappler.
Minus 3,000.
Minus 3,000? That's even Kayla Harrison is
that's
better
double
odds than that.
That's insane.
Is Dante
Dante's
an arm or something? What's going on?
No, he's not. That's insane. Literally. Yeah. All right, let's move on. There's nothing else to talk about.
You can't make money off that.
I have to bet. I have to put $5 on Dante Shiro. I'm willing to lose $5 because that is what. 100. What is his odds? Hold on. So it's minus 3,000. I mean, it's all over the place. It's from minus 1,800 to minus 2,500 to minus 3,300.
That's ridiculous. Sanford MMA. He also trains at Sanford.
We got plus 50. We got plus 1,500 on Dante Shiro if you shop around.
Yeah, $5. Maybe some couch change if you find some change in your couch.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Dante Shiro in a parlay with all those minus 750s to get paid. That's insane.
The girl fighting Kayla Harrison. Put those 2 in a parlay.
That is crazy, but I guess the odds makers are telling us how they feel about Dante Shiro's performances in the last few.
Yeah,
I thought. He didn't look great against Kenny Robertson, but he came back and won. He's got good. He's got good grit, and damn.
I heard Storley was minus 1,400, so somebody must have made a huge bet.
I mean, it's across the board. It seems to shift. But moving on here, we got Mr. J.J. Wilson, Bellator, a beautiful Bellator product.
Fight of the night right here.
Featherweight, and this is at featherweight versus Adam Borick. We've got 8-0 versus 17-1, 24 versus 28. The 28-year-old Adam Borick, the kid, I'll be breaking down first, a Hungarian product fighting at Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 17-1, beautiful record there. Has fought some really good level of opponent. Was rear naked choked by Darian Caldwell. Just simply making a mistake, getting back to his feet, and gave up his back in a way that he'll never do again. And a guy like Darren Caldwell he's too good to do that against for any moment. And it was it really was a mistake. Yeah, it was a pretty major mistake. Besides that, he has finishes of some really legit opponents. Pat Curran, Aaron Pico, had a gritty win over Mike Hamill. Mike Hamill fought brilliantly in that fight.
Yeah.
Eric Sanchez, Jeremy Kennedy in his last fight out put on a really good complete performance there. I believe was a slight underdog to Jeremy Kennedy in that fight as well. And I like that we've been able to see in Borick's last few fights, he's able to go those 15 minutes. He's able to really show that IQ and temper back some of those skills at points. Doesn't always have to go for the craziness, but still throws those flying knees almost every fight, does the impressive kind of techniques he does, and he just is finding ways to mix them in better and better. I don't exactly judge that he hasn't been able to finish the last few opponents that he's faced either, but J.J. Wilson has been a revelation, man. 8-0. 8-0 for the Mowgli, is it the Mowgli kid? Yeah, or the Maori kid.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Maori kid, 24 years old, all of his fights in Bellator, I believe. If I'm mistaken, only one out of Bellator, sorry. Took one out of Bellator, but besides that, 7 of his 8 in Bellator. Just has looked very impressive. Pedro Carvalho in his last fight, super impressive win. Had that tough, gritty win over Taiwan Claxton as a plus 200 underdog. Clean overhand right to finish Sergio Dabari. But Adam Borick, this is, I think, the highest level of competition he has faced in his career to date. This is going to be a tremendous fight. I think that a lot of people are really starting to sleep on Adam Borick a little bit now that he's gotten a few finishes in his last fights and did have that loss to Darren Caldwell. I think that that loss again was the best thing to happen to him. J.J. Wilson, for the most part, he's just looked really dominant in there. Hasn't had a ton of adversity yet, but did have a little bit of adversity against Pedro Carvalho and really showed that he doesn't have to be the hammer the whole time and came back and put that one away emphatically. Takedown defense is on point. The stand-up is getting better and better with each fight, and his grappling is world-class. This is a fight of the night, I think, certainly. Yeah. I'm leaning towards Adam Borick just slightly, but this is one where if JJ comes out there, he can really make a statement and get – I think he could snatch up a submission too. And he's very, very good. Borick was submitted, albeit I don't think it was a submission error. It was more an error in how he was getting back to his feet with the wrestler and just being a little bit overconfident. But, I mean, this could go either way. I'm leaning towards Borick.
Yeah, this is...
I'll say by decision.
By decision?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the Hoffman Stouts and Magomedov last week. It's going to be a very, very high-caliber fight. Both these fighters, I believe this is a title eliminator. Whoever wins this is fighting for the... Yeah, I think they announced that a couple weeks ago. But
it's a huge opportunity for JJ. They're skyrocketing on that 8-0.
Yeah, but I don't think JJ deserves it because he's missed weight like 3 times, or he missed weight his last fight anyways. Right. He missed weight against Taiwan Claxton. Yep. So we really got to see this guy be consistent in the on the scale. So,
at 24, he keeps getting bigger physically. He's still growing.
Yeah, he might even have to move up one day. Weight class.
I think he certainly will.
Yeah, but like you said, this could be a huge opportunity for him. 7-0 in Bellator. He's flawless as a professional. He does have a decision loss as an amateur, and he lost a grappling bout that won all 3 rounds. So I am a little worried about his cardio in the second half of the fight after the 7.5 minute mark. He might start slowing down. Adam Borick we can rely on more if it's going to be a 3-round back and forth type of affair. I was leaning JJ to begin with because he's just the kid's dynamite. He's good everywhere on the ground.
3.5 inch reach advantage.
He's got the reach. He might miss weight. He'll have the weight advantage. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. He's the younger fighter, but that doesn't always mean you're going to win. Adam Borick is no joke, man.
28 and 24. These guys are. The age doesn't exactly, I think, play
Adam's
too
right in his prime. Adam Borick is right in his prime, and he's got a country behind him, hungry. So like it seems like we're on the same page for most of these fights. And he beat Eric Pico before. Like he's got the names to back up his status.
And over double the amount of professional experience as well. The Adam Borick is the favorite, minus 145. Plus 120 on JJ. Definitely, I'm sure people who are on JJ are very excited to see that plus money, but I think the odds are pretty accurate here. I think this will be a close fight. I think it could very well go to decision. So the minus 145 makes sense. I'll put it in a few, but for the most part, I'm just going to enjoy a really good performance here. There's not that plus 300 side like with Raytheon Stotts in this fight, unfortunately, where I could just like out of value. I mean, this one, it's really your read. I totally understand people who are on JJ. It is the co-main event, and you told me the winner gets the title shot, which
even more intriguing.
I think for Borick, it makes sense, but that really reveals how much they really like JJ Wilson. But leads us on to our main event of the evening. I'm super excited about this fight. It's a heavyweight veteran war here. We got a 46-year-old versus a 41-year-old, only the heavyweight division. Cheick Kongo versus Sergei Kharitonov here at 265 to conclude the night. And I did forget the extra ON for Kharitonov, so I realized in my banner there. So I did spell it wrong. But Sergei Kharitonov, the paratrooper here, 32-8 for the 41-year-old, 6'4", fighting out of Russia. Affiliated with Golden Glory on a 2-fight win streak. Also has had a few boxing bouts in the middle here as well. Had both of those end with KO, one with M1. Had a knockout of Ole Thompson back with Parus FC in November of last year. Hasn't lost since he lost to Linton Vassell in Bellator by ground and pound. Had a win over Matt Mitrione. A finish of Roy Nelson. He's been around Kharitonov. He's been in some wars. Got put away by Javi Ayala in his Bellator debut, actually, in 16 seconds, but then rattled off 4 straight wins. I mean, he's got absolute power. I'm looking and seeing the last time he went to a decision was against Joey Beltran in February of 2018. But besides that, he either goes out or puts you out. Cheick Kongo, 30-11-2 for the Bellator veteran. He's been around Bellator for a while now, fighting out of Paris, France. Lost a close split decision loss to Tim Johnson. That was 3 5-minute rounds. Tim Johnson went on to fight for the title. Before that, it was just kind of a weird fight for the heavyweight championship against Ryan Bader. There was an eye poke on Ryan Bader during some ground and pound. A little bit questionable. It looked like Cheick Kongo was starting to take over in the fight when that happened. So kind of a tough break. I think Kongo's on his way to maybe winning that fight, and then lost a split decision. But before that, very impressive win over Vitaly Minakhanov. Got a decision there. Knocked out Tim Johnson, knocked out Javier Ayala, got a split decision over Augusto Sakai, who we've gone on to see how he's done very well in the UFC. Overall, Cheick Kongo's just looked pretty smooth at times. He's had a couple splits in some spots, but that just kind of more is he's a very composed striker in there, and sometimes causes the decisions to get a little closer than they need to be. I think that at 46 years old, I still think that Cheick Kongo has a lot left in his tank. He hasn't been knocked out since, I believe, 2013. He has not been knocked. Yeah, he hasn't been knocked out since Roy Nelson knocked him out in April of 2013. So did have a few knockouts in 2013, some chin issues, but he's really solved those, it seems. He really fights very composed. Will occasionally mix in the wrestling, which I ironically think is kind of a key to this fight. If he does that with Kharitonov, who's been in a few boxing bouts lately, maybe has been working as much on his overall MMA game. I like Cheick Kongo in this fight. I just think he's the more technical striker. He seemed to have solved the defensive issues and doesn't have the chin issues he had kind of an earlier point in his career. But Kharitonov can put away anybody. Wouldn't be surprised if Kharitonov puts a kibosh on him, but I think Cheick Kongo is the better technical MMA fighter here, and we'll show that here. So I like Cheick Kongo by decision. I believe it's only a 3-round fight, so I like Cheick Kongo.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pick. That's what I was leaning to, but you know how old Cheick Kongo is?
46.
Yeah, 46. That's getting up there, reaching the 50 mark soon. But
yeah, but he just doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like he
looks like he's 26.
He looks like he's doing just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and that he did lose that fight in Paris, that split decision. It should have really been a unanimous for Tim Johnson.
Well, Paris.
But I think it was in Paris, France, wasn't it?
Exactly. So Cheick Kongo in Paris,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to murder
being
him
from
to get
Paris.
a unanimous.
There was that one judge that was gonna score it no matter what to Cheick Kongo.
Yep.
Yeah, both these guys are legends in the heavyweight division. Both they should both have more notoriety and recognition, in my opinion. But neither of them have really, consistently held a big title or anything like that. Cheick Kongo has only fought in the UFC and Bellator for the past 15 years. Only the best opposition. Sergei is another fighter who's been fighting in big organizations, Strikeforce, Pride back in the day. He won 2 championships his past 2 fights in Peru FC and WTKF. So he's got a lot of momentum right now. He went into boxing, like you said, got a couple knockouts. He has lost by 4 knockouts. One was to Alistair Overeem. So that just tells you how far back in the day he's been fighting. He lost an arm triangle to Josh Barnett, so another a savvy submission artist.
Yep.
Multiple silver medals and boxing championships. So I think the route for Cheick Kongo is he's going to have to tie him up, tie Sergei up, get some ground control time, clinch him on the fence, and it might be a boring fight, but Cheick just knows what to do, man. He's a wily vet. Both these fighters are wily vets.
He's a tactician. He started to use his wrestling a little bit more. He does use wrestling, and his ground and pound is ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's actually got the fifth most takedowns landed in UFC history. Heavyweight history, sorry. So 24 takedowns in the organization. If he can slow this fight down and dodge those big right hands, those big bombs from Sergei, he could definitely win this fight. But
it's 41 versus 46, so it's like these guys are both gonna be able to push each other about as much as the other. I don't exactly see the athletic advantage on, the younger fighter side, especially if anything, the 46-year-old has the advantage there. So I think we're on the same page here, and we got a dog here, plus 110 on Cheick Kongo. I like that a lot.
I think that's the only underdog we picked.
That is the only underdog we picked, but at least now the comments can't accuse us of just favorite hunting. But this is one of those Bellators. Let's just quickly go ahead and get to our quick pick segment here to end the day here. But definitely a very good show here. Shout out to Julius Anglickas for joining us. He's just super cool guy. And hey, Bunny, there's going to be a dog here that pops up that we were not expecting to. I'm telling
Hamill might be that dog.
That could be. He very well could be. There's going to be one, so don't worry. We still watch.
We got the UFC tomorrow night. You'll find some more dogs. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. We don't mean to disappoint you, though. We just got to go with what we got on tape here. But real quick picks. Jeff Nielsen, we're both on over Corey Mogenberger. Bailey Schoenfelder, we're both on over Kevin Childs. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, we're unfortunately both on over Devon Fisher. I'm hoping that's our dog, if I'm being honest. Archie Colgan, one of my favorites on the card. We're both on over Ben Simons. Mike Hamill versus Bryce Logan. I got Bryce Logan by Bunny split.
I'll take the over in that fight.
All right. Taylor Johnson against Fabio Aguera. I got Taylor Johnson.
I'm joking. But yeah, maybe a $5 on Bobby. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking the Logan Storley fight. Yeah, I'm taking Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. Keith Lee versus Lugo. We were both on A1 Lugo to start out the main card.
Okay.
We're both on Marcelo Gome here. We're both on Logan Storley, but at minus 3,500. I swear, if he gets at minus 5,000, I'm gonna have to just bet like $20 on Dante, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push it to 20 if he gets that high. But yeah, we're both on Logan here. I guess Dante is dust. Adam Borick versus JJ Wilson. I got Adam Borick in a very close decision. I just like the experience and everything.
Those are boxing odds, minus 5,000. You see that a lot in boxing.
Do you have JJ or Adam?
I'm gonna go Borick by decision, but it's gonna be a fun 15 minutes, and JJ Wilson's gonna be dangerous every second he's in there.
And then on the card full of favorites, full of showcase fights, we got the dog and Cheick Kongo at a plus 110. Love that price. I think it will be a pick 'em by fight night. I have not seen
the French dog. The French poodle.
Yeah, the French poodle. I have not seen Cheick Kongo show up in any sort of bad condition for any fight. So it's like, I'm not planning on seeing that here. But Kharitonov has legit power. It's a heavyweight fight. So, finish with the dang, or known as the dag. But that will wrap up our Bellator 265 breakdown here. Of Sergei Kharitonov's and Cheick Kongo's card here. Apologize for spelling Kharitonov wrong. Kharitov. I forgot the on in there. So, go ahead and, give me your shit, whatever. But, shout out to Brandon of MMA Wagers here. Definitely not going anywhere, and has been a great co-host here, and does some really great MMA betting analysts on all of the organizations. So definitely check him out over. Where can they find you? Just so people know.
Instagram and Twitter is probably the best. Those two media platforms are the ones I use the most. So yeah, Instagram, MMA Wagers, Twitter. It's if you search MMA Wagers, you'll find me on Twitter.
Yeah, and no problem. Sorry, I can't read your name there, and I don't mean disrespect to Sergei Kharitonov either. I believe both are very technical strikers. I just think that with regards to the footwork and the head movement, and just propensity to kind of conserve his volume a little more intelligently, I just see Sergei Kharitonov putting a little more effort in looping shots as opposed to kind of straight to target shots of Cheick Kongo and ability to use the distance. So that's what I mean by the more technical striker from my perspective. But
the more elusive striker.
Yeah. So that's more what I mean. Both are very technical, though. Meant no disrespect to Sergei Kharitonov, who's obviously going to have very crisp boxing, doing the professional boxing route and getting the finishes over there. So, like I said, both guys very good. It's a very high level, but. Yeah, for Brandon of MMA Wagers, for Aaron of Aaron the Dog MMA, for Bunny of Boston Comments, everybody else in the comments, thank you so much for checking out the show. Thank you, Julian Igliskis, for stopping in, the Lithuanian Terminator, as I call him. I forgot to remind him that's his nickname. But, we will be back tomorrow night. Brian Battle does have his Ultimate Fighter finale next Saturday, August 28th. At the UFC Apex on the Edson Barboza Giga Chakazian card. He will be fighting for the Ultimate Fighter finale, so stay tuned for that. But the dude's still showing up tomorrow night to break down the UFC card with me, so we'll be breaking down middleweight. I always love breaking down a middleweight fight with the middleweight contender in Brian Battle between Kelvin Gastelum and Mr. Jared Cannonier. But
I'll be there. I'll be watching, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the likes and subscribes, and keep sticking with us in the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For Aaron, for Brandon, have a great night, everybody. Keep cashing those bets and take care of each other out there. Peace out.